I'm so excited. Oh my God, your feedback was amazing. I'm talking to right now, the viewers. We have read everything. We're gonna get back to this in a while, but we were thinking right now it's the player break just ended, and there's nothing really like to talk about except maybe like this two moves that people talked about more with Brokey and NJL. But I think it was discussed so much that we're just gonna focus on ourselves first, and then the next episode will be probably more like detailed what's happening at the next big event. And Sam and I were thinking that we maybe should introduce ourselves to you guys. Because we have like two different communities here coming together, maybe new people even discovering this podcast. And yeah, you could get to know us first, right?
That's the plan. It's just so weird for me though, Donna, because like I don't ever really talk about myself. I know
Oh,
you
now it's
stream,
fun.
right? Yeah, so you have to chat. I'm like I never do that, so I was like this is gonna be a little bit strange, but I'm game. I'll try.
So who are you, Sam? Tell me something about you.
Who am I? So I
What do
think
you do?
what do I do? Not a lot. I mean, I sit here and talk about Counter Strike, play some other games, and that's about it. No, I'm kidding. I have a bit of a weird story because I grew up in South Africa, which is pretty much for anyone watching or listening on the other side of the world and like feels so far away. But we
Yeah.
have this like tiny, and I say tiny, it is a tiny little CS community. Like back in the start we had a little Facebook group, and I'm pretty sure like anyone who plays is in that Facebook group. That's how small the community is.
That's kind of
Um
cute.
it's and we had this like one LAN a year. So it used to be at Rage, but so Rage was in this like big stadium, and they had like, you know how it's like a big gaming event, so they have like all the gaming launches and everything there, and then they would have this like competitive, it was called DGL, like this esports event, but they put it downstairs in the basement. So anyone who was at Rage didn't even know that like in the basement were a bunch of people playing. And my brother used to compete in Dota, and he used to go to
Okay.
Rage. And I go watch him, and I'd see the CS, and I preferred the CS. So I'd go stand and watch the Counter Strike. And for like years, I was at DGL in the basement, like watching. And then my brother's friends would always like come and play with us, and that was kind of like how I got into the CS
Yeah.
scene. I was so bad at the game. I'm still so bad, but like I'd always like try and jam, and I just loved it. Like I loved watching them. But then I also got super mad because like in South Africa, no one cared. They would win their little mouse pad and like go home, and then next year we'd all come back together. And I got super annoyed because this like very big corporate got super involved in esports and made this big like thing that they flew in. I don't know if you remember Red Eye Paul, like from back in the day. He was like this big personality. They flew him in. They made this like big stage, but they had like 200 people watching the stream. And I got so pissed off
Okay.
because I was like, you know, when people do this like massive show and then you know nothing's going to come of it? That was kind of where I was at. And that was the day where I was like, at that stage, like I was making content for fun, like just
Hmm.
like talking about games. And like I used to have a little blog where I like wrote my opinion because I thought everyone should care. And that
Cute.
was like, it was so ridiculous. And then I kind of was like, well, I'm going to use, like, you know, when you're like young and you're like, I'm going to use my blog to like talk about CS and like make people like pay attention. And
Yeah.
then I started doing that and making these like horrific YouTube interview videos. So like I interviewed JT when he was like 17, and like
Wow.
yeah, it was like ridiculous. Like when I've deleted them
So
all. No one will
funny.
ever see them. They were so bad.
I need to see that.
It was so I try to find it was so, and JT used to run away from me because he didn't like being on camera. So there you go. There's a little bit of law. And his actual dad used to force him, and this is obviously JT from Complexity, if you don't know, used to
Yeah, yeah,
force
of
him
course.
to come and talk to me when I was running around with my phone, being like, "I'm going to interview you." His dad would be like, "You have to come and talk," and like make
No
him come and
way.
do the
That's
interview with me.
hilarious.
It was so funny. And then, I mean, that was basically what I was doing. And then like the story, someone Paul saw me and he was like, "Oh, you could do this overseas." I laughed at him, and then he got me a gig, and I started doing like esports hosting and interviews, but never in Counter Strike. And there's a long confusing story about why, which I'm not going to go into because it's a bit negative. But basically, after years of like grinding in other, like doing any game anyone would
Yeah.
offer me, I think I did Fortnite. I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this anymore. Like CS is the game that I watch. It's the game that I love.
Yeah.
It's the whole reason I got into this. Like everyone told me I have to do all this other stuff to like prove myself for Counter Strike, but I feel like all I'm doing is just a bunch of games where like I love my job, so I love what I was doing, but like they weren't games that I would like
You were not
actively.
passionate about it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I just wasn't interested, and I kind of was like, well, I might just end this, and then mentioned it to. At the time, I had an agent where I was like, I want to do CS, and she was like, well, let's try. And then she messaged all the TOs, and they were all like, we never knew you wanted to do Counter Strike. Like, of course, like we know that if this is what you love, and that was why. Like, I think people always say like I came in late. I was like, no, I was there. I was like the biggest fan. I used to like
Yeah.
sit and watch every major event. Like, I still am the biggest nerd here and on my couch in SA, like at all hours. But I just never thought it was possible. And that's basically my whole backstory. Flip, that was a lot of talking. It's so weird.
That's fine. I like listening to it. But it's quite interesting. Like you have been there all the time, just like not really been seen.
Just peeking
Yeah,
in the
it's
background,
yeah.
basically.
I see it. I see. I see. It's interesting. I mean, I had like a not similar story because like I've been in CS from the beginning. I'm doing CS content for like 9 years now, which is long. And I think when I started doing this like interviews for One Pixel and we started doing like the big events and stuff, and then I talked to some TOs because like obviously like I've known people in esports also for many years, built my network and everything, and I told them that I would like to do stuff professionally as well, like interviewing and stuff. They were like, "Oh, we didn't know you would like to do that." I feel like if people see you doing one thing, for example, like they see me do the interview on the Pixel interviews, of course it's fun, right? Like I love doing that. But it doesn't mean that I would not do other things as well, you know. And I feel like people just like put you in a box, and that's it, you know. It's like, so I totally get that. So yeah, it's quite interesting that you had to work so long and like in other games to actually end up at the game that you want. Yeah. Anything else you want to tell us? So you were just like hosting, and you have like your own podcast, Feed the Trolls as well, and now this one with me.
Yeah, so that was, I mean, I
That's a
started,
lot.
it is a lot, but that was, and this will tie into something we're going to talk about later. I was always in the interview role. Like that was because I think that tends to be, TOs love to put women in interviewer roles, right?
Hmm.
Which I do actually get because I think women have more empathy and
Yeah.
are better at like, especially with like, I just honestly think women are far better at loser interviews than men, to be fair. I think
Hmm.
women have an understanding. That's like a huge cliche, but I really do think that.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of times they tried to make me a stage host as well, but unfortunately, I'm such a tomboy. Like I'm always in sneakers, like baggy pants or leggings
Yeah.
are my vibe. So like the whole stage host in the pretty dress with the heels, like Sharks fucking kills that. But that's just
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I'm
not
I'm
you.
an yeah, I'm an Oompa Loompa. I'm just like running around being a child. So like, but like, so kind of the desk hosting role suited me, but I think like that's also like a really difficult space to play in because we just have so much good talent in
Yeah, yeah.
CS.
It's tough out there, yeah.
Yeah, and then but that was kind of where I fell, and then I started Feed the Trolls with obviously Thorin, which was like he came to me and was like, you should probably like try and do something that showcases your personality a bit. And I said, oh, I've actually had this idea for so long about doing this podcast where like I just wanted to find out what people were talking about on HLTV and like do a deep dive. And then he
Hmm.
was like, cool, I'll do it with you. And he's never asked for money. I constantly like offer him my ad revenue from Google, which is very small on those episodes, and he's always like, nah. And he just comes on, and
That's
that was
cool.
kind of, yeah, it was super cool. But I mean, from your side, obviously, is there ever been a time, I'm just curious, like from streaming where you've kind of gone, damn, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I feel like I'm boxed
Yeah.
in, or have you always been quite
No.
happy?
I had that. I had like I took a whole year off of streaming. So, I started like streaming Counter-Strike, and I have been a German Counter-Strike streamer first. So I've started like just like doing German streams, and after that eventually I don't know, like I just like felt like I was always doing the same thing, and but I was like such a, I don't know, I'm like such a CS nerd. I tried to do variety and do other content, and I know it would help grow the channel and everything, right? But I just couldn't stick to anything. It like I would always, whatever game I would try, I would always go back to CS, even if I hated it sometimes because it tilted me. But I still like I was just like a hopeless addict, or still am. So I was like, okay, I'm stuck in CS. But I just like was tired of streaming for a time because this was all I was doing. Um, I started the whole streaming thing, by the way, like while I was studying. Like I was like struggling for money back then, and Like it was like I had like a side job, but it still wasn't enough to support myself. I was living in a very expensive city, and then I started streaming on the side as well. And yeah, like this is then it kind of like became my job, right? But eventually it was like I loved that I turned my passion to my career, but eventually it was just like, I'm too versatile, it was just like streaming was not enough for me. So I took a whole year of break. I think it was like in 2022. I'm not quite sure, or 2023. No, it was 22, I think. So I took like almost a whole year break where I barely streamed, maybe once a month, maybe for 2 months, not at all. And yeah, I risked kind of like to like just end it all, because I don't know if you can just like come back after it, right? And like have a community, everything. And then eventually, I tried out some different things. Then I joined like a player agency, and did that, like working in the background, gathered some experience there, did some deals there. It was like a really cool experience, and I liked that. But I kind of like missed streaming, so I started streaming again and switched to English. And then I started doing the One Pixel interviews, and this was like really something that developed into kind of like a second career, which I never expected because it was so random. So One and I, we knew each other already before, and he knew I was at a CS event, and it was like, he brought me in Discord and was like, "Hey, Dora, do you want to do interviews for me?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Yeah, like how Gaules does this with his interviewers." I was like, "Okay, but like I don't have equipment." He's like, "Yeah, just buy a second phone. I will send you money." I was like, "Okay," and I literally went to the airport, bought a second phone, and then that's how it started. So it was like so, like random, and then it was so popular, and both of us enjoyed it so much that we just like said, "Okay, let's try this for more bigger events." And I've been going to CS events anyway. Like I've been to, I don't know, like probably over 20 big CS events over the last years. I mean, I'm like a huge fan, right? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be there anyway, right? And then I just started doing it more and more, and now it became like literally like our like business thing kind of, and it became really huge. Like I would say like the highlight was that we went to Austin and had like the on booth with equipment and full support by Blast and everything. That was amazing. So yeah, this definitely brought some like how to say, like diversity into like my, just like the streaming thing. And now I can like do like can work at events sometimes, do streaming. I got hired for some interview jobs. I have done like hosting jobs as well in the German scene, to be honest, but no one knows of that because it's German. So yeah, it's like, now I like streaming because it's not all I do, and I'm not doing it full time. I'm doing it like 3, 4 times a week when I'm at home, and it makes me happy, because if I did it like when I only did that, I was not happy about it. And I also like have like, where I do like sponsor deals for One, for example, as well. That's also like something that I have to take a whole day like talking to people and negotiating stuff and writing down things and whatever, sending invoices. So it like takes up a lot of time, which doesn't allow me anymore to stream full time. But I just like love that I have like kind of like this like, diversity, doing stuff at home and being at events. And I think it's like similar for you probably, right? Sorry, that
It's
was like
definitely,
a whole long monologue.
it's both
But
of us.
that's it.
I
That's it.
like it.
That's
I
what
think
I do.
it's
That's what I do.
I think it's important to like learn. I think for me that was a big thing last year with Feed the Trolls.
Yeah.
Was kind of I think a lot of people don't realize that when you like, especially in like competitive CS, you're a freelancer. So some talents is very lucky. They have long-term contracts with TOs, so they know they've got work with that tournament organizer for the year. But like I didn't have that. I'm a freelancer. So you're just sitting at home all day waiting for a TO to phone you and be like, "Hey, do you want to work
Yeah,
this
it's terrible.
event?" And I eventually I was like, one, this isn't a way I want to live. Like it's super
Mm.
stressful. But also two, like I just, for me, I also like I had a vision in my head of like how I would do like a desk and things like that, and I kind of wanted to be able to show that, which is where Feed the Trolls kind of came from, was being able to say like, look, this is the way I would do it. I want to be a little bit cheeky. I
I
want to have
see.
fun. And so that was cool. But now it's like something fun that I can do. So I'm not spending all day trying to think about when my next job is coming. I can diversify and
Yeah.
do different stuff. And I think that's important.
It is. I think it's like it's a really tough scene, to be honest. If you're like a talent, I mean, I've like dived into it a bit as well, right? Like I've done like here and there some like interviewer jobs for Thunderpick, ESL Pro League, and the HLTV award show. These were like the bigger ones, I would say, that I did. And it's like, yeah, you have fun, and the people at production say, hey, great job, everything, like we loved it, but you don't know if you're gonna do it again, right? And I mean, for me, I'm just in the beginning, but someone like you have been like in the scene for years, and even you are not always sure if you're gonna get hired for the next events. And I think that's like so scary, and you're not alone with that, because I've talked to many other talents, and if you're not like maybe one of the biggest names in the scene, you don't really know how many events you're gonna have this year, right? And I think it's like such a tough place to be in, and I think you really have to have something else on the side, so you don't have to fully rely on that. Unfortunately, that's just how esports is, you know. It's not secure and safe, so you always have to like take care of your own brand, right? Of your own stuff, of your own business. And yeah, it's good. It's great that you're doing this.
But hear me out, because like this was something I spoke to you about, so we'll just put it out here. You can tell us in the comments if you think this is a good idea. But like for me, for Site Baddies, I still said to Donna, I was like, how sick would it be if we could grow this to a point where like we have this like cool sort of talk show, because that's what it is, where like we could go to TOs and we could say we could go to Cologne, and then we're doing like a pre and post show on Site Baddies, kind of showcasing, like a lot of sports people do this, right? So they'll go through there. And then you bring us in. And also like, hey, like we'd be open if you want a pre and post show, like we can do the show for you, and you can just use our feed. Like that would be, then you can go off and you can do the Oni interviews. I'll sit in the stands, watch the games, and then at the end of it we can come back together. I feel like that's the dream for me. That would be my dream.
Yeah, I think maybe we should reach out to some TOs. I think that's a great idea. And yeah, you guys let us know what you think about it, and if you would actually tune in and watch, which I believe. I mean, I think people dig it, just like to, you know, have like a chill podcast where like they kind of like just listen to. And speaking of the people watching and listening right now, we actually want to like also talk about some of the feedback we have received. And we were thinking of doing this, like making a regular thing out of it. Not that we are gonna talk about it on every episode, but here and there, if there's like some outstanding feedback, funny stuff, whatever, we wanna point it out and highlight it. And yeah, we should just like start maybe with like the serious feedback. Sam, what do you think?
Okay, let's do serious feedback. The big one, it's not that serious, but I feel like I should probably address it. So and it was actually constructive. So some of the comments were saying that I'm a little bit too desk hosty on the episode. So I was, and I completely get that. If you don't know what that means, I was like in full work mode. So I was like, I would ask Donna a question, she would answer, and then I just ask her another question as opposed to talking. And I do think like I need to defend myself here. So over the years of doing this in different esports, I've consistently been told that a desk host, and this is like legit feedback that everyone will give you, a desk host mustn't have an opinion. Your job is to drive the show and you let everyone else talk. And for so long, I did that, and I struggled so much because I'm not like, and I think if you've watched any of my stuff, even if you don't, you've probably just 5 minutes of this, you'll realize I'm not like that prim and proper, like really like put together. I'm kind of all over the place and a little bit crazy. And so I really struggle because sometimes I'd be on a desk and an analyst would say something, and all I wanted to say is like, are you dumb? Like, there's no freaking way. Like, that's not how that works. You know, I did not see it like that. And everyone was like, you know, in my head, you can't do that. And then after a while, I was also very similar to my whole thing of like, I'm just going to focus on CS. I was also like, screw this, man. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. I used to love, like, my favorite desks were when it was like Machine hosting or Richard hosting with Thor and Yanko Sponge back in the day. And they would get into like full-fledged arguments on the desk. I used to love those. And some of the shit that they used to say to each other. And I used to love analyst desks. And I just thought they were the coolest things ever because these guys were so funny. And then I felt like over time that just stopped. And then everyone would just be like, oh, we just mute the analyst desk. But it was like we were all taking ourselves too seriously. So I've been trying in the last few, like I would say in the last sort of 2 years to kind of be a little bit more messy, I suppose is the word, and kind of showcase the personality and just like have a little bit of an opinion. I think towards the end of last year, at like the Shanghai Major, I started going a little bit overboard and it was too much opinion and like uneducated opinion. Yeah, it was just like, I'm just a fan and I'm sitting there and Yanko's saying something and I'm like, oh, I don't agree with you. I can't back this up. I have no like factual evidence. I'm just telling you that I think you're wrong. So like I had to like rein it in a bit, but I think when I get nervous, I just immediately like resort to just ask question, carry on. And I was quite nervous filming that first episode because I think
Oh,
it sounds silly, but we'd spent so long trying to get it together. And in my head, I was like, this is
yeah.
going to be so cool. Like, I like talking to Donna. I think this will be fun. But in my head, I'm like, what happens if everyone hates this? What happens this? What? And so then I just kind of resorted to question and answer. So I know that I do that. But if I am doing it, I'm probably nervous. So there you go.
Oh. No, but this episode, I think it was good. Like, you were like very like, just let things happen and talk. So a good improvement. I will try not to use like so much. Someone said that. It's I think it's like also like a native. So I haven't like I never I learned English later in my life, and I think it's like harder. So like it's harder for people who are not natives to like find different words or to not say that because it's just like an easy filler word. And if you like have to translate and think what you want to say next, you use that as like a break. I don't think it's a a thing. I don't say it as much as LA people. I've been to LA. They love saying that. And they're native English speakers. So I'm better than the people from LA. I think that's, oh shit. Something fell off. It's okay. It was just, I don't know. My
Something
progress.
drops.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll worry about that
Anyways,
later.
yeah. Then there was something that was quite interesting. So, there was a comment, and they said, "Yay, finally a podcast for the ladies." And I assume the comment came from a woman. Shout outs also, by the way, to all the girls and women here watching and tuning in. You're very, very welcome. I think it's interesting that we have two women doing a CS podcast. Like we don't have that, and I think it's cool. And but we want to speak to all of the people. Obviously, it's not gonna be like a podcast where we only talk about women's CS or something. But of course, it will be maybe different than a podcast like I don't know, for example, Talking Counter, because we're still like obviously we're women and we have maybe a bit of different approach on things or different experiences. So it will definitely be different. But it's not gonna be like only stuff that are like women related. What do you think about that, Sam?
No, I completely agree. I think it's a little bit frustrating sometimes for that to happen where it was like almost immediately. I think some of the comments were like, oh, you can talk about women's CS, you need to bring on all these women as guests. I love all those women and we'll definitely like we're
Yeah,
all talking
have
and we're
some
all
of them. Yeah.
engaging, but it kind of felt like I don't like that sometimes my gender immediately puts me in a box, an
Yeah.
assumed
Yeah.
box, right? It's the same thing of like in the broadcast space, it was always like women interview, and for a long time there was no woman desk host. That was like kind of like, good God, when Freya did it, everyone was like, wow, and shocks. They can do more than just interview. Like that was
Yeah.
sick. But I do think that sometimes like there is that box that we all get put in. Obviously we're gonna support women's Counter-Strike. Obviously we're gonna talk about it. But I also feel like there's so much good content about women's CS out now. Like go support that as well. Some of it
Yeah.
is done by dudes. Like they just go watch it. Like it's good.
Yeah,
So
there's a ton of stuff and like news
yeah.
sites that also like interview them. There's I think it's like called Female CS on Twitter or something, or Female News something like that. I forgot, but they post everything that is like happening in the women's scene. So yeah, there's stuff happening, but we definitely will like have some cool ladies over here, but also guys. I mean, it's just a fun CS podcast. Yeah,
It's not supposed to be for just men or just women. We're just
it's for
saying
all.
yeah, it's for all, and we'll just have different opinions, and that's kind of interesting. So hopefully
Yeah,
that appeals to whoever's tuning in. But we're also not chasing women away. Like we want you here as well.
yeah,
It's
of
such a this
course.
is such a like you see, this is why I don't talk, because I'm like, oh my gosh, at any moment you're gonna say something, and you're gonna like we're not trying to exclude anyone. We're just saying we want the freedom to do everything.
Everything and whatever people want to. So yeah, you're also of course always free to throw some names, suggest guests that you want to see here, and we will try to reach out to them, whoever they are, as long as they have something to do with CS. Obviously, I think
That would be
should be
helpful. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, Sam. So actually, I'm doing the host part this episode. I feel like, right?
I know it's quite fun. It's very weird for me, but I'm
It's
enjoying it. Like,
natural. Yeah, I think if you don't do it, someone has to do it, right? It doesn't matter. We take turns. So there were also some funny comments and feedback. What?
so the first one, okay, so I have to ask who's ever watching this. Someone replied to, I can't remember if it was a post on X or if it was on a Reddit thread. I don't know where it was. but they replied to a thread about this show with Thorin showing his feet to the camera. It was a GIF. I'm worried now that I've imagined this, but I remember the GIF, and before this episode, I could not find it, but I thought it was the funniest GIF. And this is actually just not feedback. I just want this GIF for my own bank of GIFs because I thought it was so good. But someone also brought up Maui, which I thought was quite funny, and this is probably my favorite comment we got on the channel. It came from a gent called Bradley Furby. I don't know. So it says, you should get Maui as a third co-host, and then you could call the show 2 Kitchen, 1 Shorts. And that was just the best thing I've read in such a long time. Sorry, Maui. But I just giggled and giggled like a small child. It was magical.
I mean, hey, we're catching strays as well with 2 kitchens, so... Oh man, there was also one comment. It was like on, I think I made a post on the community, how well our video did, because we had like within 18 hours, we had over 4K views, which is huge for a new channel. So thanks again to everyone who engaged with it. And I hope we can keep that going, that we have like an active community here. But anyways, so I posted that in my Twitter community, and then someone commented. So I wrote something like, over 4K views already for our first Site Baddies episode, and then someone commented, his name is Johnny Tap, I'll plant the bomb on that side. Like, dude.
I loved it so much though. When I saw it, I was like, this is the best ever. Like, I love this.
Oh, dude, I can't. It's just so, oh my god. Yeah. But you know I like the CS community because I feel like you have like the toxic part, right? The you have also like some insults here and there, but you also have like a lot of funny people, like the Maui comment, this comment, like we are a creative community, right? I don't know.
Creative and like so. Everyone always says this. Like everyone's always like you shouldn't read the HLTV forums because obviously like back in the day they were pretty rough. I know that they've been cleaning them up. But so Prof from HLTV confirmed, I had a conversation with him once, and I think he apologized. I can't remember how it started, but I was like, dude, I love the forums. Like, that is my favorite place. I have a burner account. I hang out there because I know that it's toxic, and I know that, like, some of it is, like, really bad. But the creativity that comes out from the CS community, I love those forums. Like, sometimes I'll just read comments, and it's like the most left field crazy bullshit ever, but I'm laughing because the replies are so creative. And like 90% of the people replying, like English is not even their first language. I'm like, holy shit, if you're this funny and like you're not even a natural English speaker, this is mental. Like, I love you. I want to meet you. I want to just talk to you because you're making me laugh. But I also am like a little bit of a toxic troll on the inside, so that's probably contributing to it as well.
Yeah, it's definitely like, I mean, we have everything, right? But we will be on the lookout for funny comments. Don't try too hard though. So it has to be genuine. But yeah, love the feedback again. Sorry we couldn't like talk about all, but we have obviously read everything. And yeah, it was way better than I expected. Honestly, like I didn't think that so many people would be interested in this podcast right from the beginning. So I'm looking forward to where it's gonna take us. We also, by the way, like we said that in the beginning, right? We just want to talk about us a bit in the podcast. So the next episode is going to be more like focused on like what's happening CS, because there was such a long break. Not a lot of things happened since the roster mania. So there was not a lot of things we could like, or we wanted to talk about now. Overpass is back. They removed Anubis for that, which I personally love because I hate playing Anubis. I have the worst win rate on Anubis. I only played if I've been forced to because people voted, but I really dislike it. And Overpass, I think, is such a cool map where you can be so creative with your team. I don't know what your point of view is. I know you don't play that much, but you watch a lot of CS. So if you remember, like watching Overpass compared to Anubis, do you have any opinion about it?
So, I mean, I think from a playing point of view, I suck most days, so the map doesn't matter. So from that, and I'm too low a level to even, like, I'm just, like, trying to hit my shots. But from a watching point of view, I'm on the side, and I think you'll see this if you go online. Like, I think a lot of the people that are like working in competitive Counter-Strike are all really excited that Overpass is back, and it is exactly what you said. It's because it offers up a lot more creativity. I think it's like a lot more. It's a bit more balanced, obviously, but there's like more strat that we get to see. Some people were saying it's going to be more boring Counter-Strike. I don't think so. I think that Overpass is always, for me, Overpass has always been the place where like the true talent can shine and show you some like crazy shit, and that's for me, I'm excited about that. I think that
Okay, cool.
I think that's kind of the situation we're going to be in, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. I did try and do a poll on social media because when I was reading through the comments, like it was so split. There was like 50% of the comments I'm seeing are people being like, "This is the worst map pool ever. All the games are going to be so boring. No, this is no fun to watch." And then on the other side, people are like, "This is the best map pool we've had in like forever, and this is insane."
But that's the Counter-Strike
That's
community.
every time.
There's
Yeah.
one thing that we can be for sure and certain: they will never be happy. We will never be happy. Like, I think you can like not make all people happy. There's so many people who, like, especially when it comes to map, who love Mirage and others hate it. It's like it will never like make everyone happy, and yeah, it's just how it is. So you will always have haters and lovers for every change they do. But we still
But
here,
here's,
right?
I was to say, so here's my question. Would you have, no matter what map, you would have wanted Anubis out, right?
No, my first pick would have been Train. I was excited that it came back, but I don't like the no new changes. I think it's like, I would say, even though I don't like Anubis, I would still rather play Anubis than Train. So I think Train would have been my first pick to remove, but I know they didn't do it because Train was the last map they added, so it would make sense. So they're gonna keep it for a while. I think a lot of people were excited to see Cash back, me included.
Yeah.
Cash is definitely one of my favorite maps. I loved to play it back in the days when it was like still in the pool. I have so many hours on Cash. It was like really one of my top maps, and I know a lot of people feel about it too, but I think it's probably not ready yet. But I'm 100% sure it's gonna come back. The question is for what. So I think they're gonna probably remove, I don't know, maybe Mirage for it. It's been in the map pool for a while as well, but I
I
hope not.
legit,
I hope
yeah, I
Train,
mean,
please.
I think Train is going to stick around for a while, but I legit thought Mirage would be out. Like, I thought that it would be Mirage for Cash. Like, I knew there was going to be a map change coming, right? But that was kind of where I
Yeah.
was sitting on. But I think, like you said, maybe Cash isn't ready. So I was surprised, but I'm not disappointed. Like, I think that the Overpass
It's gonna
edition is
come.
pretty cool.
I'm very confident. I'm very confident.
Yeah. So I think it'll be interesting. Also found out that the changes will hit for Cologne. So I think like as we're
Yeah.
recording this right now, there is is it Fisher?
Fisher, yeah.
I think Fisher's on right now, but I
Yeah.
think that,
Fisher and ESL Pro League also started.
yeah, and then
It's
but
not
I
gonna be like, so I think for pro, I think I mean it might like be included for Cologne.
so
I
definitely
think for
Cologne. I did
everything,
see,
yeah.
yeah, I saw
Cologne
so I
for
think that's
sure.
the first time you see it. So Cologne will
Yeah.
be when the map changes go
Yeah,
into
the
play.
others not. They don't usually do it on ongoing. He's like ESL Pro League will go on for a while, I think, and Fisher is not done as well. So they like there's no chance they're doing it now. They have to
Yeah.
give teams some time to adapt. But I'm quite confident we will see it in Cologne. So yeah, lots to talk about.
And that's like pretty much, I mean, because we haven't really made a plan in terms of when we're going to do episodes. This isn't going to be like a
Yeah.
weekly thing because we're both pretty busy. But the idea is to like,
Mhm.
when a Cologne comes around, we're
Yeah.
going to make sure that we're focusing on that.
Yeah. So I also think around Cologne will be the next episode, either before or during or after, but probably before. Um, but yeah, I mean, we'll keep you posted, guys. And yeah, let's see what happens until then.